All right, everyone, welcome back to Jim's Barbecue Shack. It is dark outside, so I've got the light on. It's about 4:30 in the morning, and this is the pork butt that I pulled off that I'm getting ready to pull apart. It's very hot still, as you can see, but what I wanted to show you guys is how the bone comes out nice and clean whenever you cook it the right way. There you go. Beautiful, clean bone right there. Pulls straight out. Still nice and hot. This has been resting for about an hour, and you can still see the steam coming off of it. It's very, very warm still. I mean, it's very, very warm, but it's pulling apart real nice and easy, real tender. I cooked this until it was 200 degrees internal temperature, and then let it rest. But as you can see, I mean, it's just so easily pulled apart right there. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Oh goodness, it's hot. Yeah, that's very hot. So I'm gonna have to go inside and get my claws. Forgot to bring them out here, and start getting this thing pulled apart a little quicker, and it won't burn my hands so much. But look at that beautiful bark on there. Beautiful, beautiful. Nice and juicy and tender. That's going to be awesome later on the sliders. Boy, that's really going to be good. Look at that. Very nice. All right, this will be good for the dog. Bertha loves these bones after I cook. She likes to chew on those for about 4 days. But anyway, so yeah, there's that pork butt. I mean, it's just totally pulling apart real nice and easy. And look at that. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Oh goodness, that is going to be so good. All right, so I'm going to go get my claws, and I'll be right back, and I'll show you a little bit of that, and then we'll move on to the brisket. All right, everyone, so here I've got my beast claws that I ordered off of a promotion off of TV one time, or maybe it was off of Facebook, but these are really great. And there's all kinds of different bear claws you can get. Some are made out of steel, stainless steel. Some are made out of plastic like these. But it just helps you to really just get that pork just pulled nice and easily, and you don't burn your hands. So I really love them. I get it to a point where it's pulled a little bit, and then I can actually break it apart after it cools a little bit with my hands. And if I want to chop some of this a little bit, I can. I like to get it where it's pulled for the most part and not really chopped. That's why they call it pulled pork, right? So anyway, look at that. Beautiful, beautiful. It's all still so juicy and moist. And then what I'm going to do is what we like to do is we're going to add some barbecue sauce to it, some of my homemade barbecue sauce, and just a little bit, not a whole lot. Don't want to overpower it or soak it or drench it, but just enough to give it a little flavor. And if anyone wants any more, they can always add more to it. But you know, I'm just showing you how we're going to do it, how we do it, because that's how we like to do it. The cool thing about barbecue is everyone has their own touch, their own flair, their own family recipe. And I tell you, the right way to do it is the way your family likes it. So don't let anyone tell you that there's only one way to do barbecue. There's only one way to do a brisket or a pulled pork or whatever. It's whatever you and your family like. And that's what's cool about it is as you travel throughout not only Texas and the different parts of Texas, but you know, the rest of the states, barbecue takes on a little different meaning to everyone, and that's cool. That's what's so cool about it. It's diverse, it's culturally diverse, and it's just really cool to see the different ways barbecue is made, and the different seasonings used, and just the different techniques. I really relish the fact that it is different because I like to taste different types of barbecue, and like I said, oh, that's a beautiful piece right there. That's my favorite, is the dark meat. And there is a dark meat to a pork butt, so people don't really know that. But anyway, like I said, this is the way we like to do it, and I've not had any complaints yet. And there are other people, I've got buddies of mine that barbecue, and they have their own flares and ways to do things, and that's cool. We all get along. That's just the way it goes, you know. That's what barbecue is all about. A little bit of difference in style and technique and flavor. And I'm going to go ahead and take my knife and give it a couple of chops, because I don't want it to be too big. I'm going to be putting this on slider buns this afternoon, and I don't want the pieces to be too big. But there you go. There's my pulled pork, and I use my own special rub on it, and it's got a nice little blend to it. I'm not going to give away my secrets yet. You may find out more about that a little bit later on as I work on that. But just keep pulling this butt, keep pulling it. There we go. I mean, it's just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Love that bark and crust, all that extra flavor in there. Yeah, just pulls apart nice and beautifully. So what I like to know is what your favorite types of barbecue are, and what your favorite thing to barbecue is, to smoke, and how your family does it. You know, is it something that your granddad taught you, your dad, you know, your uncle, or something you created on your own? That's what's really cool about it. Family recipes passed down. I will tell you that I did get my love of outdoor cooking from my dad and my uncle Frank, my dad Jesse. But you know, they had their way of cooking, and back then there weren't all these fancy smokers or grills. It was a 55-gallon drum barrel smoker that was really just a grill, a charcoal grill. And if you wanted to smoke on it, you could, but you had to use the offset method and just cook to one side and have the fire on the other side. And mostly what they did was grilling, though. They did a lot of grilling of fajitas and chicken and sausage and all that kind of stuff. But we would always be outdoor cooking, barbecuing, grilling, every weekend, it seems, just about. And it would either be at our house or their house. And the cool thing I remember about that is, you know, back then there weren't any cell phones, and you couldn't text anybody to see who all was coming over. We never really put an invite over out to anyone, but it was just known that every weekend we were going to have a cookout, and everyone was welcome. And the cool thing about it is we always had enough food if anyone showed up. And I don't know how my parents did it, my uncle did it, and my dad did it, but seriously, people would just show up randomly, just not even knowing we were cooking, or, you know, I don't know, subliminally maybe they knew, but they would show up, and everyone was always welcome at our house. No one was ever turned away, and if you stopped by, you ate. That was the bottom line. End of story. Now it got to where people would know that eventually people would understand we were going to be cooking just about every weekend, so they would come and they would bring stuff to help out with or whatever. But and that's what you do when you go to someone's party or house, and you know, you want to take something. And we did, and they did, and it was just so much fun. And you know, there really was never a standing, okay, this is going to be how many people are going to be here. but it always worked out that we always had enough food and everyone just enjoyed themselves. And you know, to me, cooking, outdoor cooking, barbecue, grilling, you know, it's all about family. That's what it's about. Family and friends and love and happiness and just sharing a good meal with someone. And, you know, that's what it's all about. And it's always resonated with me that way. And that's what I really enjoy about doing my barbecue is I love to watch people enjoy the barbecue that I do. And really just put a smile on their face whenever they eat. And, you know, basically you're filling their belly and you're taking care of someone, you know, in a sense, really. You're nourishing them and in their mind, soul, and body. And you know, to me, that's what barbecue's all about. And I just love that. So there's my little tidbit and how I see barbecue. So I'm going to finish this up real quick, and then I'm going to get on to the brisket. There we go. All right, everyone, we're back here with the brisket, and you can see I've got a beautiful color on it, beautiful bark. I do wrap my briskets. I use the pink butcher paper, and I usually wait. In my smoker, it usually takes where it gets to about 160 internal temperature, maybe 170, 175, to where I like the really cool, beautiful color on the outside. And then I wrap it until it gets to 200 in the point, okay? And that usually gives me the best results in my smoker, all right? Like I said before, when I was talking about the pork butt, everyone differs on how they like to do it. And, you know, my way is not the only way to do it, but this is the way we do it. My family does it, the way they love it, and the way everyone that I ever cook for loves it as well. So as you can see, there's that jiggle right there that they talk about. So this is really cool. I can almost separate the point from the flat. Oh, it's very hot with my hand. But let me get, this is what I do. I go ahead and separate the two. Now this is what I normally do when I'm going to be slicing the brisket for serving like that. But I'm going to chop this whole thing because we're going to have sliders. But I just kind of wanted to show you how that just comes apart nice and easily. And I usually move the point off to the side. Okay, and you always want to slice across the grain. And I'm just going to do a couple of slices just to see what it come out like, so you can see. And you can see right there that beautiful, look at that beautiful ring. Brisket's nice and tender. It just snaps right there. And you slice it however thin you want based on how you cook it or how you like it. But I'm gonna, like I said, chop all of this up. But I wanted you to see how, I mean, that's just so tender. You know, all the fat's broken down. It's rendered down into the meat. But if I were gonna slice this for service, I always like to slice mine right before service or right at service, because obviously when you slice brisket, it does tend to dry out. But look at there. I mean, that's beautiful right there. Beautiful. Again, just nice and tender. Nice little smoke ring. Sometimes I get a deeper smoke ring. And for those of you that don't know, the smoke ring is basically nothing more than a chemical reaction. And I have found that the colder I put the brisket into the smoker, the deeper the smoke ring. Okay. A lot of people say let it sit to room temperature after you put your spices on it. I have found that when I put mine in straight from the fridge, take it out, trim it up real quick, get my seasonings and spices on it, and put it directly in the smoker, I get a much deeper smoke ring, almost a 1/4 inch or more. But again, that's how nice and easily that slices right there. If you're going to be slicing it, and it's still moist, you know, it's tender and moist. And then I'm going to do the same thing to this as we did the pork butt. I'm going to be getting it all chopped up, and then I'm going to be putting it with a little barbecue sauce, not too much. I don't want to overpower anyone, just to get those flavors throughout the brisket. And like I said, I do my own homemade barbecue sauce, so my own seasonings and rubs, and my own barbecue sauce. But there you go, there's the beginnings of what I'm going to be chopping up. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this going, if you guys don't mind, and we'll get this thing chopped up so I can get it in there to be soaking up all that goodness from the barbecue sauce. I love this knife that I got, this cleaver that I got from Villarreal Custom Knives down in South Texas. They're on Facebook, you can find them. Beautifully handmade knives. It's got a nice weight to it, nice and big. I think this is a 10-inch blade, but it's beautiful. It has a nice weight to it, so I don't have to really work that hard when I'm chopping my meat, and it comes out beautifully. Okay, so there we go with that. So you know what, let's chop up some of this point and get some of that going like that. Move this flat over a little bit. So the grain runs differently in the point. It runs opposite what the flat is. So basically, let's get into it like that. And move that there. So this is the main point where they make the burnt ends from. And you can see, oh, it's very hot. It's been sitting for almost 2 hours and it's still steaming hot. But you can see even that is tender, pulls apart easily, you know. So you chop all that up with the extra fat inside there, and that just makes some really, really good chopped beef. And that's what everyone loves. And we have to give the people what they love, right? Or they won't come back and eat. So that's what we're doing today. Getting this all ready. People don't realize how long it takes and why brisket and barbecue is so expensive, because it takes a long time. It's a lot of work, and it's a long process, and that's why it's so expensive. And you know, people say, oh my gosh, why is it so expensive? Well, first of all, lately the price of beef has gone up really crazy, and then there's the time and effort it takes to put into it. And you know what? My motto is low and slow. There are people that do it hot and fast, and hey, if they like it that way, that's great. I've always been taught to cook it low and slow, and my motto is great barbecue takes a long, long time. If it doesn't, well, you're just not doing it right. But that's my motto. That's the way I like to do it. Everyone has their preference, and I will tell you that my smoker makes it a lot easier for me to do that, because I don't have to babysit it. I had a traditional offset barbecue smoker, stick burner, for years and years and years, and I got tired of losing sleep, sitting up all night feeding the fire to maintain that temperature that I wanted, which is around 250, 260 for my meats. I lost too much sleep doing that, so that's why I moved over to the Deep South smoker. It's a gravity fed charcoal and wood chunks. Now I've had people on the forum, on the web page, and on the Facebook page for Deep South say they've had trouble with what you call bridging. If you use chunks inside the chute, where the chunks will get stuck and not drop properly. If you use the right size chunks, and in mine, I don't go anything over 4 inches, 5 inches tops. The chute is about 8 inches square. I've never had any trouble with that getting clogged up or stopped up, and I just find that as I layer it, it just continues that smoke process, because as the charcoal burns, then it'll drop, and then it'll get to the wood, and it imparts some more flavor. And you know, I just love, even though after about 6 hours you're not going to get too much more smoke into a brisket. It can only penetrate so far, but I just love that wood smell, that aroma that it brings, you know, and that just wakes people up. You know, it wakens up your senses and gets you all ready to eat and hungry. And you start smelling someone's backyard barbecue. Let's face it, you're driving down the road and someone's cooking barbecue, and you smell it like that, you're going to get hungry. Makes you hungry. And that's what we always want. We want hungry folks to come along and eat. And like I said, usually when I cook, my neighborhood knows I'm cooking. They can smell it down the block. And I get a lot of good compliments. People know when I'm smoking. So anyway, just don't want to put all the fat in there, but you want to have some fat in there with your chop. I do, at least. Want to have that flavor. That's where most of the flavor is. And you know, it just really, really good. Let's see, I can pull off some of that fat off the back. I like to trim my briskets up a little bit, but I don't trim them so crazy to where there's no fat on the outside to render. It's always easier to take it off for me at the end and take off as much as I want and leave on as much as I want. And especially if you're going to chop, you want to have some of that extra flavor. And this is just so tender. I mean, it's just, you know. And I cooked it that way on purpose because I am going to, you know, chop it. I like to have it a little more intact if I'm going to slice it, even the point. And you can still slice the point and eat it that way as well. But anyway, that's like I said, that's the way I do it. And people always ask me, you know, how do you do your brisket? What do you do to it? And I'm going to tell you, like I tell everyone else, and this is true about any cuisine, any style of cooking. You can have a chef or a pit master give you their recipe step by step, tell you the ingredients, tell you exactly what to do, when to do it. And there's just something about it. It's not going to taste the same if that person doesn't cook it. And I truly believe it's years of experience and know-how and a lot of love. You got to put love into your food so people will love it and enjoy it. I just truly believe that. And I've had people before where I've told them exactly what to do, how to do it, what to cook, what to buy, ingredients to use. And they say, Jim, it just doesn't taste, it tastes like yours. You left something out. What are you hiding from me? And I'm like, well, no, I didn't. I told you everything. But, you know, you just got to have your own touch. And, you know, it didn't come to me overnight how to smoke barbecue. You know, people ask me, well, how'd you learn to cook brisket like that? Or how'd you learn to cook pulled pork like that, or your ribs or chicken or whatever? You know what? I've been cooking for 20 plus years, and I messed up a lot of meat early on. So if any of you out there are just starting, hey, you're going to mess up. You're going to ruin some meat, but that's how you learn. You learn from your mistakes, and like everyone says, you know, everyone says fail forward. Yeah, just keep trying. Don't give up, man. Do you think my first briskets and pulled pork came out like this? you know, beautiful smoke ring, nice and tender. No, I messed up a lot of meat, but I learned as I went along, and I adjusted my techniques. So that's what the thing is. If you don't adjust and make changes to what you're doing, you're going to keep getting the same results. Okay. And look at that. I mean, just, that's beautiful. And as I put it in the barbecue sauce in there, and then that renders down a little bit more as I warm it up later on, I mean, it's going to be beautiful. And that's going to be beautiful on little sliders we got. I found some Wonder Bread honey sliders. I've never seen them before. And no, they're not a paid advertiser. I just happened to be at HEB looking for some Hawaiian sliders, and I found these, and they were out of the Hawaiian sliders, so we're going to try those and see how they are. And didn't know that was even a thing. So they're bound to be good. They smell really good, even still in the package. So we're going to see how that goes with barbecue. A little bit of sweet, a little bit of savory. That's always a good combination. So there we go. Yeah, there we go. Boy, that's going to be nice. Too bad you're not here. You can't smell all this good barbecue. And like I said, it's about 4:30, 4:45 in the morning here. And well, the neighborhood in the backyard smells good. I appreciate everyone watching. Remember, at Jim's Barbecue Shack, I speak fluent barbecue. We'll see you next time.